Should you let your children use ChatGPT? Whether or not kids should be allowed to use artificial intelligence is a hot topic right now and a really important one. And full disclaimer, I do not have any kids of my own, so I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments on this. That said, this question has been asked a number of times, so I wanted to give my ideas. So I believe that artificial intelligence is a general purpose technology in the same way that electricity, the computer, and the internet are. The actual technologies themselves are rather neutral. They're not good or bad. They are neutral platforms on which we can build other things and we can use them in different ways. So it just seems bizarre to talk about something like electricity and whether it's good or bad for our children, good or bad for our society. I think in 10, 20, 30 years, we'll be in a very similar position with artificial intelligence. Instead, it's the usage of this technology that can either be good or bad, harmful or helpful. So I think this is where we need to have the discussion rather than a blanket ban. It's a little more subtle, but I think it's important in this particular case. So there are obviously very good uses of artificial intelligence for kids. One example of many is over in Nigeria. There's a study that just went on where kids were given access to a tutor after school, a tutor run by artificial intelligence, and they learnt in 6 months 2 years worth of course material. So they 4x'd their learning. Now this was in supervision with a human teacher who was in the room, making sure they didn't goof off, making sure they weren't having silly chats with the ChatGPT, but instead actually studying. And when they did that, amazing results. Okay, in this case, children should use AI. Obviously, there are less beneficial uses of AI. I would argue that AI girlfriends and boyfriends is probably not going to be a beneficial, and it might be a harmful effect on society and emotional upbringing. Deepfakes is another example here. But again, this brings us back to the question of what are we using the AI for? It's not the AI as a general concept that is good or bad for the kids. It is the usage of that. And this comes down to a discussion between the parents and the child. The parent needs to work out the quantity and the quality of AI usage in their household. We cannot just abdicate to technologies. And this is a discussion that's been going on for decades, if not centuries, if not millennia. What should kids be given in order to pass their time? So when I was growing up, it was the television. I was told that if I watched too much TV, my eyes would go square. Similar discussions happen with the internet, how much YouTube kids are watching, for example, and we're now going to have the same discussions with artificial intelligence and chatbots. Even back in the Victorian times, when the novel first came out, it was a new format back in the Victorian times with people like Dickens. It was seen as the brain rot of the time. It was not like great literature, but instead serialized fiction, which was considered trash. That's obviously changed a lot now, and reading novels is seen as a worthwhile pastime for the most part. So this is an age-old debate that I'm sure has been going on for thousands of years between parents and their children. And we are just seeing the most recent iteration of that through the use of artificial intelligence. It is worth discussing. I believe every parent, every household, every guardian, they need to work out what the rules are going to be for their children. And this is going to be on a case-by-case basis depending on the kid. We cannot just use blanket statements in this case. It's too important a question. So this is my basic idea on this whole topic. It's a general purpose technology, so the usage is what matters, and the usage is going to be dictated by a discussion between the child and the parent. And if the child is not of an age where discussion is possible, then it's up to the parent to come up with the rules they think are most fitting for their kid. As said before though, I do not have children, so this is all very abstract. I would love to hear your real opinions. If you are a parent, how are you dealing with this now? If you are a kid or a teenager, how are you? Growing up in this age, how much AI are you using on a daily basis? What are you using it for? I would love to get a discussion going in the comments because I think this is a really important issue.